because
Hey, Dillashaw, his suspension just wrapped up this week. So you still training with them? Still talking with them? How's it going?
yeah. We train together all the time. We mostly get our grappling in together. Just because you know how Southern California is, we're all as training everywhere. But yeah, he's his suspension's up. He's trying to line a fight up. I don't think they have anyone for him yet. But yeah, he's getting back into it, getting ready. We got Juan Archuleta is going to be defending his belt soon. We're trying to figure out when that's going to be, and then yeah, I'm trying to heal up from this last fight still and get in there again. So
what, your knuckles?
Yeah.
Your knuckles were beating the shit out of them?
I broke my hand in the first round, so.
Oh, did you?
I got my cast off.
Nice. Yeah. Well, good. How you healing? How's it feeling?
It's good. It's good. I can grab things now. I'm just not allowed to hit anything for a couple weeks. So, got these fragile hands.
Have you lost count of how many times you've broken your hands?
No, it's 12.
Oh,
wow.
Jesus. Do you talk to any other fighter Raider fans? I know Justin Gaethje's a Raider fan.
Well, TJ's a Raider fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah,
way to have your finger on the pulse there, Soto.
Oh, fuck. You're the one you don't tell me shit, RJ. You don't tell me shit. You freaking make me look stupid every time we have a freaking guest on the show.
You do that on yourself, Mr. Piss on Pants.
And then Juan's a Redskins fan. Oh, sorry, a Washington football fan. And I was trying to like pull him over, but then they ended up making it further this year than we did. So I think I lost them.
I mean, that's not a badge of honor winning the NFC East this year. They were like, what, 7-9 or some shit like that? Same record as we had. They just had a shitty division.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, who else is a Raiders fan?
Jessica Alba's a Raiders fan. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jessica
I'm
Alba.
super pumped about that.
Yeah.
RJ's like, hey, can you get a list of people that are Raider fans like that we can get on the show? I said I said Gaethje, I said Jessica Alba, Ice Cube, George Lopez, Tom Hanks is a Raider fan. But that's all I got.
I wouldn't have guessed that. He's too nice to be a Raiders fan.
You got to be born a Raider fan, baby. It's got to be in you.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, my kids are Raiders fans. They're forced to be. Even though one of my sons is named Saint.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, doesn't matter. Still Raiders fan.
You got him doing the Raiders chant yet? Raiders.
No.
Okay.
Oh no, my daughter.
Yeah. There you go.
I do it. I'm like,
I was a Raider, bro.
And then she's like, Raiders. She doesn't even know. She's like, okay, Dad.
That's good. Yeah, that's good parenting right there.
Yeah, it's indoctrination. That's what you need. So what's the timeline on you getting all healed up? Is there one?
Yeah, so I like long training camps because injuries happen, and when those happen, I like to just go, okay, little injuries. I'm like, okay, take a week off, let it heal, do what you got to do. So it just kind of takes pressure. I've noticed when people train like 6, 7, 8 weeks for a fight, they're like, they can't miss a practice because to get into the shape that you need to get in and prepare, it's stressful. So I like to do like, 12, 14 weeks. I basically do like a pre-camp. I do all the, 2-a-days but then I'll like pull back and I'm still eating kind of crappy. And,
That's what
I'll
I do.
just be like, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not going to go.
That's me.
Once I get into like decent shape, like at 10 weeks out, then I'm like going hard. And then I'll pull back the 2 weeks before the fight. Just to make sure that that I'm making it to the fight. Earlier in my career, I had to pull out of too many fights from just getting injured. So I'm just not into that. I need to get paid. I need to get paid for all this hard work.
You got a fan, baby. You need to get that.
Yeah. So I'm hoping April or May.
Okay.
Cool, man.
So,
what did you make of one, Max Holloway's performance against Calvin Kattar, and two, his comments after when he said he doesn't spar anymore?
Yeah, so that I think I spar a lot less than I did before. And I feel like I still need to get my timing down. But I think you kind of mature, as a fighter, and and it's not as hard to get there, you know, because you've done it so many times. I've kind of said that I kind of made this saying up, and then I always blank out on it. But overtraining is stupidity, and undertraining is what was the word I used? Overtraining is stupidity. Undertraining is just insecurity. You know, so that kind of sums it up. You know, when you're younger, you're insecure, and you just like, my opponent's doing more than me. Oh my God. And you're just so worried that kind of motivates you and drives you. And it's just insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
And then later you get to a point where you're like, I know exactly how much I need to train and what I got to do to get to this shape. And if you're not doing that, then you're just being lazy. So you kind of, you know, over the years, you get smarter and you get better at doing this. The fact that he didn't spar, I feel like he's done so many rounds and he probably didn't need to.
Yeah.
And I thought his performance was beautiful.
Wow.
It's really been what I've been trying to get more to is just, you know, volume and pressure and pace. And if you can dictate that, it doesn't really give your opponent a chance to kind of, you know, be in the dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think about it with like music, you know, if you're setting the tone and the beat, then you're leading the dance, then the other person has to follow, and they're fighting a fight that's not their fight. They're fighting your fight. And that's such a big part of the game. And I feel like the way he started, it's the same kind of way he fought me, but he just was super aggressive with it. And he just starts going right away and sets a pace. And you're just sitting there going, okay, what's he doing? And then he's hitting you, but it's not really hard. They kind of hurt. They're little peppering shots, but you're like, your ego's like, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. And then after like 20 of them, you're like, man, I'm kind of tired for it being the first round, you know? And then you're like, man, he's kicking my ass right now. What the hell? And then you got to like switch it up. And that's, I felt like Kattar just, he got, you know, he talked about wanting to show him he was a freshman or whatever. He got showed that there's levels, and that, I mean, Kattar's a great fighter, but he got showed that he's just not at that level yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was. I don't know if he didn't react well to Max's length, because it just seemed like he was there the entire fight, but just out of reach because he's the longer fighter. He's able to pop, and just fade back just a little bit where Kattar couldn't really get him, and then he just runs back in. He wasn't necessarily walking him down. He just was just fading away a little bit, pop, coming back a little bit, getting right just out of range. I think that was more so Max knowing his range and knowing he was longer so he could stay there.
Mm-hmm. He kind of does his own version of the Diaz style, which, you know, the Diaz are, you know, fighting from southpaw, and they do this leaning in and out, and they can play that game being the taller fighter. So what they'll do is they'll walk right up to you and grab your hands and then hit you. And then you try to hit them back. They just pull back and hit you again. It's kind of like that little stupid, the punching ball, you know?
Yeah.
Or the clown. Exactly.
The clown that goes
and
back,
so that's kind of the style. And I feel like Max does it with not kind of flared, open stance like the Diaz brothers do, but his is more of a boxing style. And he just goes heavy on the lead foot and throws at the end of his range, and then pulls back, and then throws and pulls back. And it's very hard to time it. And he's just really good at it. So, I think the only person that's really done a really good job at shutting him down on that was Volkanovski. And those fights were razor close.
Yeah.
I knew that the fight against Dustin Poirier, when he moved up, was going to be a different story, because, you know, Dustin Poirier is also long and you know, durable. So I knew that was a bad matchup for him.
So you fought Dustin, obviously. You're intimately known. I think it was 2013 you beat him in the UFC.
Yeah.
He's got a big one coming up on Saturday, taking on Conor McGregor.
Oh, he's fighting?
You might have heard, right? Irish guy, kind of loud.
Oh, that guy? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He's fighting too. Giant pay-per-view on Saturday. What do you make of that rematch of those two southpaws?
I just want to see a good fight. You know, I think people enjoyed seeing Conor in some wars with Nate, and even Khabib. just, the short fights are, they really boost him up as, as an iconic fighter. But I feel like he beat those guys mentally, and those guys kind of, and I'm not trying to talk trash at all, because I've been there in those moments when you can just be like, oh my God, this moment is bigger than I thought. And that pressure you put on yourself just makes you freeze up and feel little. And I feel like he does a really good job of beating people before they even get in there. So I get annoyed with that, because I want to see a good fight. And I'm thinking that Poirier's, he felt that before. He's worked past it, and I'm sure he'll feel it again. But I think that he'll rise to the occasion and put a great fight. But it's definitely hard to bet against Conor.
Yeah, I mean, I when Conor, obviously when you have that kind of panache, if you will, you get a little freedom with the matchmaking, right? And so I don't want to say he handpicked Poirier. That's not fair. Like, if you beat Dustin Poirier, you can fight for a title. Like, he's, obviously he's that good, right? So it's not like he's just, handpicking some weakling. But I feel like he still sees the same things that he saw in him, and 8 years ago, whenever it was, when he beat him the first time, knocked him out in the first round. And I think he still kind of maybe sees those holes in there, which is why I think he picked Dustin again. Even though Dustin's way better defensively now than he was back then, I just feel like Conor doesn't pick an opponent if it's not for a specific reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's picked every opponent he's had since getting into the UFC, other than maybe the first one. And that's a luxury, that not everybody gets. And yeah, I agree. I think he's taking this fight because he's like, I beat him once. I'm still in his head. I'll beat him again. And, he's just trying to get closer to that title fight. So, I mean, I definitely think Conor's a really good at the path that he takes with all his fights. That's something I think he does really good job at. I don't know if it's just him or his team, even his like cryptic messages and everything. I think he does a really good job of playing the politics of the game.
And that's as much as, like, whether you like it or not, getting in people's heads or matchmaking, like, that's as much a part of the game as having a good right hand or a good sprawl or like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. That's
unfortunately, I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean, how many title fights have I had? 0. They're like, you should talk more. I'm like, I fight. I don't really want to. I'll bullshit with my friends, but I'm not gonna go on TV and try to like have an arguing match. Like, we fight. That's what we do. Book us. I'll fight. That's never been my thing. So it is part of the game, and we've seen it ever since. I mean, we really got to give it up to Tito. He was the one that did it first, and then Chael kind of came along and took it to another level, and then Conor took it to another level. So it's the future of the sport.
Who's the opponent that you did hate the most? Did you ever get like really riled up for an opponent?
That I fought or that I didn't fight?
Both.
That I fought was Jens Pulver, because they made me out to be the bad guy in that one. And that was something I was not comfortable with.
Because you were a Raiders fan. Yep, of course. Of course.
Yep. Just because, man, I was broke and I needed it so bad and I wanted it so bad and I trained so hard. And then he pulled out of the fight and said he was injured. And I said that he wasn't, and that he just, wanted more time to prepare. And so they made it seem like I was just some cocky kid calling him out. And then that, I froze up in that fight. He beat me. And then, they were like, oh my gosh. And then he got the title fight. So all that just really set my career back a little bit and just made me bitter. Yeah. And it was my own mistakes. But yeah, that's why I hated him for a long time. But we're cool now. But the person that I never fought was definitely Conor. Me and him almost fought a couple times at 2 separate UFCs, just because like the way he is on camera, he's like that everywhere. So it's like I'm sitting there and he came and sat next to me and then started calling me old Grandpa Cub, and he just starts poking at people, and I'm like, look, dude, I don't fucking like you in the first place. Like, why would you sit next to me and start talking shit to me? If you like, you got a problem, what's up? And then so we started getting into it. So I just don't appreciate that,
Yeah.
It's like we're in the business of fighting. If you want to fight me, then tell the matchmaker we'll make it happen. They'll come over here and try to like pick a fight and then make like a big scene about it. That because where I come from, in my short amount of time that I was getting in trouble and I went to juvenile hall, that was like, we called people like that, we'd say they were making movies, like, oh, this dude's over here making movies. And that meant like, if you were going to fight someone, you had to hide to fight. You had to like go around the corner. You had, because you're not allowed to. It's like, you're going to get pepper sprayed, everyone down. So if you were going to fight, then you'd be like, let's go, And if someone didn't want to fight, then they'd be like, me? You talking to me? Huh? What? You're like,
oh, damn.
causing a scene.
Yeah,
so we would say
yeah.
he's causing a scene.
I'll kick your ass, Warden.
Yeah. So it's like, it gets broken up, and then you're like, oh, you're lucky. It's like, dude, you could have fought. You could have just went around the corner. But obviously, if you didn't want to fight, you make a scene, you cause attention. So to me, growing up, that was frowned upon. If you handle it like a man, you go around the corner and handle the business. That's that. The more that you're a showman, and that was shown, like, to me, that was a weakness, and that's kind of how I came up. So it's just a different environment. So when I got to the UFC and that started becoming more popular, I was just like, that's not me. They're like, well, you can, your manager and your people around you, your training partners, like, telling you can change, you can do it a different way. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to, because I don't want to. From the beginning, I never wanted to change who I was, to be more accepted as a fighter. I'm just be me, and if people accept me for that, then cool. And I think that's really worked out for me in the long run. But in the short distance of my career, it didn't help at all.
Well, Cub, we appreciate you coming on. You gave us a ton of time. We really appreciate it. We know you're a busy guy, family man. You got some healing to do. Yeah. Really appreciate you coming on, Cub. Can't wait to see you fight March or April, hopefully sooner than later.
Well, I appreciate it. I do got to say real quick, I do get some support, and I've been getting some feedback from some players. Number one, Max Crosby. He was shouting me out during my fight.
Nice.
He follows me, and I'm always, trying to hit him up on social media, because I'm a fan. Jonathan Abram, same thing. And I think the first one to do it was Jalen Richard. So he's been on our team for a minute. And he's been following me for a while. So shout out to those guys and Hunter Renfro was commenting too on during my fight. So. Nice. All those guys right there, like my favorite Raiders right now.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's because, obviously, like NFL players, especially like defensive players, Max Crosby, like, they're badass motherfuckers, right? And so big dudes, amazing athletes, like cream of the crop. But when there's a UFC on, it's like, oh, those are the alphas. Those guys in that 8-sided cage are the alphas. It's fucking sweet.
Yeah. It's nice, cool.
Man.
It's cool. Oh, and you know what? You want to know something else that I haven't even said? After my fight, who called me? I was driving home from Vegas, and I got a call, and it said anonymous, and I was like, told my wife, should I answer this? She was like, I don't know, and I was like, accept speaker, and guess who it is? It's a wild guess. It's not an athlete though.
John Gruden.
Nope.
Mark Davis.
No, not a Raider. Not a Raider.
Not a Raider?
Yeah, sorry, I just went off topic.
Jessica Alba.
It was a video message. Who?
You're like this. Ooh.
It was movie phone. No, I was playing. I said that, and I'm like, man, there's people, some of these listeners don't even know what movie phone is, I'm sure.
Yeah. youngins.
We're getting old. No, it was Robert Downey Jr. called me, and
Oh, shit.
I was like, the whole time I was thinking, man, is this an app? Someone's fucking with me. This is really good. I'm totally buying this. But yeah, he called me and he was like, man, I saw your fight, and it was awesome. I saw your interview after, and I just felt like I should call out and tell you, call you and tell you, how much, I appreciated the fight and everything. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. But like you were saying, people appreciate alphas. So, but I think people really appreciate, the story that goes into it too. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do, show that I'm, raising my kids, trying to still live my dream. And it's not easy, but I'm just a normal everyday dude. And I just happen to train really hard and, fight for a living. So yeah, to be able to get a phone call after a fight like that from Iron Man.
Iron Man called you, dude. That's dope.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
All right. So I'm just getting breaking news. Cub Swanson's going to take 6 months off of fighting because he's going to be in Iron Man 4. So he's going to miss the fight cycle, but I understand why. That's awesome. So how long was the conversation?
Probably about, 5 or 6 minutes. Wasn't too long, but he super nice guy. He was asking me how old my kids were. And he was like, are they Marvel fans? I'm like, they're a little young, but they will be. He was like, all right, well, just saying because I'll FaceTime them and play it up like I'm Iron Man, for them.
Hell
and
yeah.
That's
I
dope.
just thought like, what a cool dude.
Hell yeah.
And he's like, well, you got my number. I was like, well, it came up as anonymous, and he's like, well, I'll text you right now. So I was like, all right, cool. So yeah, I might have to pull that card at some point.
Yeah. Let's call him right now, Cub. Let's get him on the show.
Yeah, get him on the horn.
Four-way conversation.
Like,
that's awesome that all those.
Let's see if this is real.
Right. It's awesome all those Raider fans are fans of yours because, like, obviously now that the Raiders are in Vegas, the UFC's based in Vegas. Like, once that COVID shit's done, like, dude, I people don't know I work at UFC production. It's like my mind is already racing of getting you in Allegiant Stadium, walking through the locker room, like after a practice, like giving them some kind of like pumped up. Like, did you see Frankie Edgar do the speech for the Jets like a few seasons ago, like before a game? Like, I could see Cub in there talking about like overcoming adversity, beating the guy in front of you, walking the walk, not talking the talk. I got it already written in my head, Cub. We got to do this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would love that. I think that would be amazing. I'll tell him like, my record is 6-1 in fights where I've broken my hand. When I have a broken hand in the fight, I'm 6-1. And my only loss was the Holloway. And that's because I had a broken jaw and a broken hand. But but I did go 3 rounds with a broken jaw and a broken hand. So I feel like a stat like that is tough enough for a football player, professional football player.
You should tell them we don't make movies, we just win, baby.
Exactly.
Cub, this was great. Appreciate it. We got to have you on again when the season's going, when we start kicking ass and coming in the fall. Thanks for coming on, bud, and can't wait to see you fight in the spring.
Appreciate it, bud.
Appreciate it, guys. Have fun.
All right.